You know the way they say, well, small is beautiful. You've seen the size of our dog Murphy, haven't you? Right? Nothing more beautiful. Jonathan Miles has written a book called Eradication, recently released from River Run, an American novelist, and yeah, it's not a. It's one of those packet, sort of mini packet things, which kind of goes, oh my God, you open it up and you're not quite ready for the contents. I mean, I'm not sure I was really, or if you can ever be ready for a book like this one. It's a novella, so it's short, comes in at about 160 pages, and it's it's a stunner, but we'll take stun not literally, but figuratively, literally. Wow, it's quite the read, and obviously I wouldn't be talking to you about it if I didn't think it was truly great and worth the look. It's set on an island called Santa Flora, and it's one of those very reduced, compressed sort of fables, where a young man called Adi, you know that he's been a musician and that he's been a school teacher, is offered a job clearing this island of 4,000 goats that are running around on it, who've been left there, you know, from trade routes, from people dropping off goats, and then they pick them up to have them as their din-dins on the return journey. And they've kind of been forgotten about and left themselves. They've devoured everything on the island and pushed any other species out. So there's nowhere for them to hide. And Adi, we realise, is grieving the loss of his son and the subsequent breakdown of his marriage. And he doesn't know what he's letting himself in for when he takes this sort of mission job to rid the island, eradicate the threat to the island. And you know, between the jigs and the reels, they drop him off. He's got 5 weeks. They've given him a high-powered rifle. They've given him the ammunition. They've given him his rations, and he's got a cabin which is very minimalist on the seashore. And we spend several days wandering around, all quite miserably, alongside Adi as he discovers the island, discovers how very sort of difficult to navigate it is on foot, all the things that can go wrong. So this comes over as like a sort of comedy of disasters or errors. It's wryly funny, and we feel for him. We know that he's woefully unprepared for this and probably has no real idea what he's let himself in for. And every time he tries to fire the gun, something dreadful happens, you know, or something stupid. So, well, not stupid, but something that he's not prepared for. There are one or two other characters, and there are fishermen on the other side of the island who are shark fishing for shark fin, and he finds a little bird which he thought was has been pushed to the brink of extinction, and he finds a wounded one, and he names it E3 and brings it inside, and he looks after it, and a rat who he sort of domesticates, as he calls Oliver. So that's your tiny, tiny, tiny cast, and then there are the goats. The way he writes is quite blunt, very straightforward. The island is a kind of a meander, but his language is never going off into flowery or into transports about anything. It's quite matter of fact. So it's that kind of trenchant, unembellished prose. It allows room for humour, and it does allow room for Adi's thinking, what his grief feels like. We get it in little flashbacks. How did his son die? And how has his life fragmented, and what is he going to do about his current problem, and what does he think his mission really is? And then we're all led, from his kind of misery and his kind of botched attempts and his kind of hopelessness, there comes this return to something which he was good at and which he had shared with his son, which is music. He was a jazz musician. So that kind of wends its way into the story, and those passages are very, very strong and very lovely. So it's not all like gory, horrible, oh my God, culling of animals, or the idea of. And we're being presented with this idea of more than this thing happening, though we do see it the way Adi sees it. It's not all filtered, but it's kind of hypnotic. You're more caught up in how did he find himself in this situation, and how is he going to get through this? It is utterly riveting from that point of view. And at the same time, yes, lots of clever things are happening, talking about sort of the climate, talking about humans playing God, deciding who we can dispatch and who we can't, who we can be careless of, or what species we can be careless of, which for humans is every other species apart from us. And where tenderness comes in, and how nature will out always. It's an astonishing read. It's really funny. There's a lot of little connection to make, and there's a lot of things that make you feel surges of strong and useful feelings. I do highly recommend it. It's the perfect novel for our times. And even though it's small, it's got immense heft. It's a truly good book. So pick that one up. That's it from me. You can like and subscribe. And if you have read this, or have anything to say to me, please do so in the comments. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.